ridiculous.
Well, here's the thing.
Maybe. Sometimes.
Tell me about this. I want to know more.
Oh, yeah. No.
Holy cow.
We've had a lot of fun.
So, Catherine, we were talking about kids not announcing that they had homework the other day, and it seems like you had a similar situation last night.
Yes.
Please lift your head up from where you're banging it against a table and tell us about it.
At 8 p.m., I checked in with my son because I had been out for the evening. And as soon as he saw my face, he said, "Oh, I just remembered I have some science that I have to do."
Yeah.
And I have to make a 3D model of a bacteria and record a podcast about it. And it's due tomorrow.
By the way,
yes.
record a podcast about it. This is a thing they do now in science class.
Apparently, yes.
Oh, for goodness sake. And you said, gee, it's funny that your teacher would give you that with just one night to do it.
So he worked on it until close to 10 o'clock. And then he said, I think I should go to bed. And because I also have a math test tomorrow.
Oh,
and
my goodness.
I'll just have to turn this in late because he wasn't finished.
Yeah. No.
Like, okay, great. Go.
Wow.
So yeah, he made a salmonella bacteria out of PVC pipe, rags, and old pieces of shredded up dog toys for because the bacteria is like furry, it's like hairy, and so he needed something that would look furry. So we used the old gross dog toys. So I would suggest to his teacher not to get too close because...
How did the dog feel about its toys going to this service?
Well, we unearthed them from this pile of toy carcasses that we have.
I see.
You know how you give them a stuffed toy and the immediate need is to remove, turn it inside out and take out the squeaker. So we use the carcass that remains after you do that.
And this, ladies and gentlemen, is why we never throw anything away.
Mm-hmm.
You never know when your kid is going to have to make a 3D representation of a bacteria.
Right.
And you will need those old dog toys. Oh, for goodness sake.
So, yeah.
So then after all of this, so did you help him or did you just say, have fun, bud, you're on your own?
I helped him a little bit. The bacteria has these tail things that have a scientific name. And so I helped him sew them onto his the body of this. It looks like it's like a capsule shape. And it has these 3 things hanging off of it. And then my husband stepped in, the one who was with him all evening, who didn't think to ask him if there was homework. Comes in at about 9:30 to say, "Oh, crafts, I love this stuff. What can I do?" So he's the one who applied the dog toy.
Oh, my. And when was this assignment originally made?
Oh, who knows? Probably before Christmas or something.
I would think so. Yeah. And how are they supposed to do a podcast? Or just record something on your iPhone or did they have to sign up with a hosting service and give the teacher
Libsyn will be getting a
link?
I don't know.
Blog Talk Radio would be all over it though. I bet they have a special service.
Yes, he didn't get that far. He was writing his script for that when he decided to give up for the night. So,
well, his mother, being a professional podcaster, should
that's right,
be able to give some tips. You could let him use your microphone.
Yes. He likes using my microphone for
I'll bet.
YouTube and
I'll give him some editing tips. Download Audacity. I'm amazed that is part of an assignment. That this is where podcasting is in this space and time.
That's right.
It's how your kid finishes their science assignment.
Mm-hmm.
training them for the new world.
That's right.
And speaking of training for the new world.
Yes.
Let's talk about training parents.
Yes. As we shall be soon.
As we shall be soon in this upcoming podcast of Parenting Roundabout, because we give such great advice.
Yes. Let's get our science homework done here by getting into this podcast.
Yes. We are top-notch advice givers. And if you would like some parental training, please stay tuned.
Yes.
Because we are going to share lots of information that is worthy of using as a parent.
Including ask your kid early in the evening if they really do have homework.
Yeah. Oh, I feel your pain, Catherine. Been there, done that. I think we all have.
Yes.
So hello, and welcome to Parenting Roundabout, a weekly podcast about the things that parents are talking about, obsessing about, and complaining about right now. I'm Nicole Erdix, and with me today are Terry Mauro.
Hello.
And Catherine Haleko.
Hi.
And today on the podcast, we're going to talk about parenting classes, training parents, and our speed round. Shout out some stuff that we like on the Roundabout Roundup and do some shameless self-promotion. But first, yes, there is a fine line between helping and training and interfering when it comes to other people's children. Yeah. Believe it or not. That doesn't apply to my mother, of course. She doesn't listen to this podcast, so we're good.
Good thing.
But yeah, Terry, do you want to kind of lead us into our first big topic today?
I thought of this topic because of an experience I had at the Barnes & Noble in our town a few weeks ago. I am generally somebody who would say, do not comment on another person's parenting. What are you talking about? I don't like the people who make fun of people they saw at the mall on Facebook. You know, you never know what another parent is going through. Just leave them alone. Let them parent. You don't know what the situation is. I feel I've been judged many times, and I don't like it. And people have given me useful advice in the public sphere, and I have not wanted to take it. And yet, for some reason, at this Barnes & Noble, when I saw a small boy at the top of an escalator with a no way, no how look on his face, and people struggling with him, I felt the need to tell the mother, you know what, there's an elevator. And she took that advice about as nicely as I have taken advice people have given to me, which is a nod that basically says, mind your own business, lady, and a smile.
Oh.
A polite. And afterwards I thought, what the heck am I doing? Why did I feel the need to say that? The reason I felt the need to say that is because I have a child who's now a young adult who has a great deal of trouble with down escalators. She had eye surgery as a kid. She doesn't have much depth perception. And while she can go up an escalator just fine, she can't go down one. So I know where elevators are in places because, you know, to a certain extent it's necessary that kids gain these skills. But at a certain point you say, you know what? You don't have to go down the escalator. There are other ways to get downstairs. So I felt like, well, here's somebody having the same situation. I'm going to help them out because I didn't know where the elevator was when I first came here either. It's hidden back in a corner behind some shelves. So I feel now like, was that a bad thing to do? I meant it in all positive way. I didn't mean to be judging her parenting. I wasn't saying, hey, lady, why are you torturing your kid? You can find another way down. Maybe she didn't know there was an elevator. Yeah. Maybe she would be happy to not have this public spectacle of her kid clutching and crying at the top of the escalator with a line of people behind him. Maybe she would like a quick out. So I thought I would ask you guys, what are the parameters of appropriate helping people parent in public? Is there any time when it's okay to do? Is there any way that it's okay to do it? Or are you always that lady that this mother is going to go home and say, you would not believe what this bleep at the mall said to me? I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm an old lady now and I feel like then I'm coming into this part of my life where I'm allowed to criticize young parents. I wasn't criticizing her. I wasn't saying, stop torturing your child, take the elevator. Just in case you didn't know, ma'am, there is a better way. So, I don't know. I felt bad about it afterwards, and I felt that people were talking about me and saying that I should just go mind my own business.
It really sounds like you were just trying to be helpful, and you were not doing it in an obnoxious way.
I was trying not to, but putting myself in that mother's shoes, probably she was very focused on her kid and doing what she felt was right for her kid, and other people expressing their opinions, however politely and well-meaningly, is possibly not appreciated. Yeah. I don't know. Do you guys ever do that? Do you ever feel a need to?
I remember a time when, this was years ago, but I was leaving from religious ed with my kids, and one of the other parents who I knew was having a struggle with one of her younger ones who was just, boneless and shrieking and the whole deal. Yes. And not wanting to, sort of interfere or call attention. Yes. I just kept going. I didn't do anything. And then a third parent, who I also know, did step in, and she said, can I carry your baby? Or she did something. Yes. And then later on, the mom of the one who was having the tantrum posted on Facebook how she was so grateful for the one who stepped in and helped her, and we all need to help each other out, and I was really I so appreciated her taking the time to help me, and I was like, oh man,
there's like a good Samaritan parable here. Yeah. People walked by me in my hour of need.
Exactly. And I was the one who walked by and did not help. And I really was doing it for the reason that you said. Like, I didn't want to be like, oh, obviously you can't handle this situation, so I'm going to step in. So and this was years ago, and I still remember it and think about it and kind of feel bad. So,
but this is one of those things where, informed by that, the next time you say something and you get smacked down.
Yeah, I know.
Next time I won't walk by, I will help. And then you read on Facebook, people who embarge on other people's parenting.
Right. Leave me alone. Yeah.
Yes.
I know. It's very hard. This is why it's so hard. And in general, if something's going on with my child, I would prefer no comment, please.
Yes. Me too.
So, but yeah, I mean, I guess if maybe I feel like if I need help, I'll ask for it. I don't know. Like if I were that parent in that situation, I could have said, hey, Catherine, could you please, hold this bag so I can deal with this toddler or whatever.
Right. That's true.
Yeah. Then I would have felt better about it. Then I obviously was quite willing to do something if it would have been helpful. So.
Right. I don't know.
Ugh.
It's as with everything we discuss here, you can't win. Right. Basically. Whatever you do is going to be wrong. So do the thing that is going to make you kick yourself the least when you get home, which is what I should have done. If the mother had said, does anybody know if there's an elevator here? Then I could have stepped
then
forward.
You could have jumped up and say, why, yes, let me show you.
I have used it before. Yeah. I had a 27-year-old clinging to the top of the escalator saying, no way, no how.
Right.
It's scary if you don't have depth perception. You know what? You're just taking a step out there into space.
It's scary, even if you do, I think.
Yes.
In some cases.
So I can completely relate to kids, but I'm sure possibly the mom feels like this is something my kid has to learn to do. I'm not going to pamper him by giving him an out.
Right.
Which I guess, okay, but maybe that doesn't have to be done in such a public... see, here I am having opinions.
But I guess, here I am thinking, you don't know the background. You don't know the backstory.
That's
so
right.
when you step in on somebody's issue in public, I feel like you're being presumptuous and assuming
that is true.
That the parent cannot handle the situation themselves.
Right. Yeah, that's what I worry. And yet...
So... So I tend, obviously then, based on my response just then, I tend not to jump in unless the parent clearly needs help in some sort of like safety issue, or the child is hurt, or the parent is in obvious need of support, like, packing groceries with a crying baby on a hip.
Yeah.
So I don't know, I guess I just feel like unless there's this desperate look of help on their face, I tend to slink by.
Yeah, because a lot of times, when you're in that situation, you feel like you are pretending that you are in control, and if people say something, it's clear that you're not pretending well enough. It's like, please do not shatter my illusion that everything is fine.
I don't want to assume that parent is incompetent, right?
Right.
Like, I don't want them to feel like I'm judging them either. Maybe that's just my type B personality.
That's your Canadian politeness. You don't want anybody
Canadian
to feel
bad. Although I was very American the other day at the golf course. You would have been very impressed with me the other day. Because
what did you
wasn't
do?
actually... Well, I was actually standing up for my mother so I was... This wasn't a parenting moment. Maybe it was. I don't know. But it was a situation that involved my mother and surly, grumpy old man at the golf course who had many negative things to say. And I stood up and I said, "Stop being so snarky" to my mother. I felt very empowered, but definitely would not have done that if that was a, mother doing, being snarky to her child.
Yeah.
I would not have done that. But I felt like this surly, grumpy old man needed a, boot. But I tend to, and then I also too, like, I feel like, how when you used to shop with your kids when they were younger and they had like a tantrum in the grocery store and you felt like everybody was staring at you and judging you. And I just really appreciated those people that just kept walking.
Right.
Yeah.
Because they had been there. They knew.
Do you try to like smile at those people to sort of let them know that's okay, I understand, I've been there, or is that annoying too? You should just completely ignore?
I've tried sometimes, but then, I kind of get the annoying off. Oh.
We say fork on this podcast. We are taking a cue from The Good Place.
The annoying fork off.
Yes. I'm going to have to find a bleep sound effect now. Cool.
Yeah. But, so I generally don't even make eye contact. I just keep my head down and walk by.
Yeah, that's hard. So. I have that in church now. Whenever I see a child that's fussing, I try to shoot the mom like a smile. And I don't know if it's annoying because it shows that I've noticed it, but I remember when I was the one with that kid, and I think I would have liked somebody to look at me with a look that did not say, "Why don't you take that kid out of here immediately?" Yeah. I would like somebody, even now when my kid's sitting there playing with keys, I would like somebody to look at me like, "We are delighted to have your child here," and that ringing noise does not bother us at all.
Yeah.
Well, I just kind of feel like in the absence of saying anything, that's just as good because it's just like life goes on and, I'm doing my thing, you're doing your thing. I accept you, I'm not noticing the difference here.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
Like I try and keep it kind of neutral.
I sometimes with families, I feel like I want to go up afterwards and say, "You have a beautiful family. I'm so glad you're here." But then at the same time, sometimes people say well-meaning things about my kids,
and then
I feel like, can't they just come and be young adults? Do they have to be?
See?
So, so basically our message to you today is just, we should all shut up. Shut the fork up, basically. There is no upside to saying anything nice or mean. Either way, people will be complaining about you. Unless you're in a situation like Catherine's in which people will be complaining that nobody said anything.
Yeah.
Right.
Life is hard.
I mean, the good news is that someone did help and she appreciated it and she wanted it. And it wasn't like she was saying, fork off to all the people who didn't help. But she was concentrating on thanking the person who did help, So.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, but then making everybody who didn't feel bad anyway. It was implied. Judgment was implied.
The feeling bad part was implied.
Have you guys ever stepped in or felt like you should have if you saw a parent doing something you felt was abusive with a kid?
No.
Oh, that gets tricky. I know. like I want to do something, but I don't have the...
Yeah, I don't think there's any way to do that either. But those are the times where then somebody will say, I was in the store and somebody was doing this and nobody stepped forward. Nobody cares. It's like, well, everybody cared. They just didn't quite know how to step forward. They didn't
know what to do, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I've been in a situation once where I saw something and I talked to the manager about it.
Mm-hmm.
I went over to the manager and said, hey, can you keep an eye out for this? I'm not sure about it.
Yeah.
But then I felt like I don't know. It didn't really sit that right with me, but I didn't feel like I could say something directly to the person.
Yeah.
And it could be dangerous. It could be dangerous for you and for the child if you say
definitely.
Something.
Yeah.
Yeah, you worry about what the child's going to get when they get home because they
totally
attracted attention. And also, I mean, even then, I mean, I suppose there are things that are just unquestionably worthy of comment. But if you don't know the situation, you don't always know. Like, you know, when my son was little and he got agitated, like a really hard hug would sometimes calm him down.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes that involved a little bit of struggle.
Yeah.
And somebody seeing that could think something bad was happening when in fact I was using techniques that had been given to me by a therapist to calm him. So, you know, it's really hard to know.
You were probably, if I was walking by and saw that, you were probably using a soothing voice, right?
Oh, well, sometimes maybe. Other times.
But you weren't. Yeah. Would there been any outward hostility towards a child or anger?
I would like to say, well, of course not, because I am a wonderful mother. But you know what? Those situations are way stressful for everybody. And one does not always show one's best.
But you're not like yelling or threatening to spank or like.
I probably would not be threatening to spank, but maybe in my head. But I don't know.
Not, you're not being aggressive with the child.
No. Well, I don't think so, but other people might think so. I've heard people characterize things that I know to be therapeutic as aggressive. So, you know, you never know. You're only seeing one small, tiny flash of a family's life and relationship.
Right.
And, you know, everybody loses it sometimes. If you have the poor luck to lose it in a public place, I don't know. I mean, yeah, it would be helpful for somebody to tell you to knock it off, I guess, but then you're mortified on top of everything else.
Right. Just adds stress.
Right.
To the
situation. It does. This is why I advise people just to avoid, if there's any chance that something stressful will happen, avoid public places. It's like, don't take your kid to the grocery store after you leave work to pick them up at school and the store is going to be at its most crowded.
Oh, yeah,
that is a bad idea.
Right.
That is like a perfect storm. Go home, put the kid to bed, have your husband watch him, go to the store at, 11 p.m. by yourself.
Yeah.
Because you just know stuff's going to happen when you are all at your most stressed.
Mm-hmm.
So,
right.
But I don't know. I would like to be... I guess the thing is that you pass on your font of parenting wisdom in your podcast and in your blog rather than in person.
There we go.
I could just quietly slip the young mother a slip of paper with my website on it. Read my blog later.
And she might
I'll tell you where the elevator is.
She might find it later. Well, maybe that's a good segue to our speed round topic, which is parenting classes that should exist. So how to, deflect a well-meaning stranger.
Yes.
But there's a piece on Scary Mommy that we will link to, which is called 9 Parenting Classes We Wish Really Existed. And it's things like how to live in a house that will never be clean again. Or what to do when the baby poops in the bathtub. Things like that. So I thought this would be something that we would have opinions on.
Yeah.
As to parenting classes we wish we could have taken, or maybe it's a class that you could roll up and teach right now.
Teach.
How to avoid down escalators.
Yes. So, I could definitely do that. So, and when to make a big deal of it and when to just find the elevator.
Right. So, Terry, what would yours be?
Well, I'm trying to think back to when my kids were little. We adopted them when they were 18 months and 4.5 years old. So I didn't have a lot of the really, really early baby stuff, but I would have appreciated right off the bat a class on foldable strollers and car seats.
Oh, yeah.
Because while I eventually figured out how to make everything work by the time they were too big to need them, right. Still, you never are completely sure you have that car seat in right, and then you have to adjust it for your kid, and maybe it's not quite right. And I had an umbrella stroller for my son, which was wonderful. That thing I could just whisk out, pop it open, buckle him in. But then I also, when my daughter was still pretty little, we had like the 2-seater stroller that folded up in the trunk. And then I'm like at the mall with 2 little kids trying to unfold this mammoth thing and click all the little things into place. And with the there's got to be a better way to do that than the way I did. And I'm a small person, so I needed to have some training to bulk up for that,
to bulk up.
Bulk up.
Not just how to do it, but have the actual strength to do it.
Haul it out of the trunk, yes. And then push it open in all its various ways. And then get the kids into it. And then push it. It's a workout, man. Mm-hmm. It could be like a new gym thing.
Yeah.
We'll give you the 10-point large stroller workout. So those would have been helpful.
Yeah.
I think that, in there are classes for baby-proofing your home, which are helpful. And I'm sure that they give, to some extent, advice to put away things that could hurt the kids. But I think that would be good to have an extra session on going around your house, finding things that you value that could fit into a child's mouth or be knocked down or just in some way come to harm, and put those things the heck out of the way. So you don't wind up getting your heart broken again and again when that book you like winds up having a bite mark out of the corner, or that, my mom brought me a rosary from Rome and I was really touched by it and I had it under the Christmas tree and my son thought it was a fun pop bead thing and it was soon in pieces.
No.
So it's like, it would have been very easy. If I had had a class, I would have known, put that someplace high, put it in a drawer.
Yeah.
Like we know with dogs, you don't leave things where they can get to them. We need that kind of training with kids too, I think. Not just things that are going to be dangerous to them, but things that are going to be tragic to you, even though in the greater scheme of things, your child is much more important. But still, that meant something to me.
Yeah, absolutely. How about you, Nicole? What class would you be taking or teaching?
Okay, I have a little list here because I've been brainstorming. As I think back to one of my first major incidents with my child, I would have appreciated a course on how to not listen to your mother.
Well,
give advice.
The important thing is how to let your mother think you're listening to her, but not actually let it into your head.
No, I just need to straight up, I would have appreciated a course on how to just do what you think is best and not listen to your mother. Like when she told me to take my son out of his car seat and move him into his bed when he was sleeping. And that was one of the biggest mistakes in my life.
Yes.
I would have appreciated a course on proven techniques for leaving your child's room without making a noise.
Oh, yes. I'm a ninja.
The ninja strategies.
Absolutely.
Yes. Birthday party etiquette. Do you stay? Do you not stay? What kind of gift? If you're throwing the party, loot bags, not loot bags, where in the house, away from the house. Like, it was very stressful.
Yes.
Doing kids' birthday parties. Your kids' behavior at the birthday party. Reprimanding them, not reprimanding. You know what I mean? Like, it's
and then it gets back to other people's kids. What do you?
Yes.
Yeah.
What sort of rules and discipline can you enforce when other children are at your house?
Yeah. And the worst part was then when you would have a party and the other kids' parents were there and it was time to open the gifts and, the kids would sit in a circle and your child would be ready to open their gift, and all the other kids wanted to open it. And they'd be like all in the middle, tearing apart the paper, and your kid's just sitting there like, okay. Like, how do you say no? That is not your gift. But politely,
that is
and
for
not to
my
offend
child.
anybody.
Sit down.
Yes. It is. And the parents don't do anything.
Yeah.
And you're like, it's my kid's birthday. Anyway,
and then
I
at
had
the
a
same
lot of
time,
issues.
if you were at somebody else's birthday and you are still there as a parent, what are you allowed to do?
Right. Yes. And then my last one would be how to efficiently or streamline kids' activities so that you are not running all over the place.
If someone has that figured out, then sign me up.
That's a very short class. You go for 15 minutes. They say, you know what? It's not possible.
Right.
Thank you for paying for this class. Go home. Somebody just laughs for half an hour. That's that class.
Or, things to do while you wait in the car for your kids.
I wrote that article for
Did
Family Fitness.
You are the expert.
I did.
What classes would you like to see, Catherine?
Well, I did actually have to get instruction on how to create a proper bun for my kid's hair. When she first started skating, they really did sit us down and show us how to do it. Any new people had to get tutoring from one of the more experienced parents. So that, how to get your child to do their work independently so you don't find out at 8 p.m. that they have a podcast that they need to record. That would be real helpful. I remember when when babies were little, I was like, I need directions on how to do everything one-handed, because when you're holding a baby, how do you eat, or how do you, walk the dog, or all these things that I used to have to do with the baby, either in a baby in a carrier, but you still feel like you can only do things with one hand somehow. I don't know. I mean, I did figure out when my first one was really small and she would be in the front carrier, I would just drape a cloth diaper over her head so that I could eat without dripping crumbs all over her head. So that's a little tip I could hand out for free.
There you go.
All right. Well, we can open up a school with all of our excellent ideas and suggestions.
Yes.
And remember, you can hear a new speed round every Wednesday through Friday.
Yes. And now we will bring you some of the things that we've read or seen or used recently that we want to shout out and share with you. Terry, you're up. What do you have for us?
Yeah, I'm going to share a podcast episode that I meant to get to before the holidays because it is holiday themed, but I never somehow did. And then in Alan Sepinwall's review of the last episode of The Good Place, which included the song Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer, he put this little asterisk in his review to remind us of this podcast, and I went and listened to it because I read about it here. This is what he wrote, because I can't think of anything better to say about it. He wrote, if you didn't know, Good Place creator Mike Schur co-hosts a podcast with sports writer Joe Posnanski that is in theory about sports, but in actuality is about minutiae so small that Larry David wouldn't find any of it worth making an episode of TV about. Last month, the two of them had me, Linda Holmes, Tonight Show executive producer Mike DiCenzo, and former Yankees ace pitcher and new Atlanta Brave Brandon McCarthy on to draft our favorite holiday songs, which is 90 minutes I simultaneously cannot recommend at all and cannot recommend nearly enough. It is utterly pointless and utterly ridiculous, and if you need something idiotic and silly, brother, are you in luck. So I listened to it. It is indeed hilarious. They don't actually play any of the holiday songs, so if you're done with that for this season and can't bear to hear it, you don't have to worry about it. They just talk about holiday songs and they trash talk holiday songs. And it is really fun. And it's always fun to hear. I mean, I listen to Alan Sepinwall's podcast, TV Avalanche, and of course, Catherine and I listen to Pop Culture Happy Hour with Linda Holmes, and it's always fun to hear those voices on other podcasts. Yeah. It's like, my friend is there. I know that person. So if you have, I mean, it's quite long. It's like about, as he said, 90 minutes. If you have some time, you want to have it playing in the background and listen to it, it's really quite funny and puts maybe a nice little cap on your holiday season. My tree is still up, so I can still listen to holiday things. But it's worth listening to.
Awesome. Catherine, how about you?
Totally different note. This was a piece that was in the Washington Post. It's now 10 or so days ago, but I saw it shared several times on Facebook, and I went and read it. And it's called "A Stranger Insisted I Was His Mother. What Happened Next Surprised Both of Us," which is a really clickbaity title, but it was a very moving essay about this woman who had a private investigator contact her and say, you know, are you the mother of this child? And she was like, you know, I was 17. I was not sexually active. I'm sure it wasn't my kid. But even being asked the question made her question her own memory. And it wasn't her son, but they developed a relationship anyway, because, he really did want to, he just continued to believe that there was a possibility that she could be his birth mother. And it was just a really surprising and moving story from the Washington Post.
Huh. Wow. So I might get some hate for this, but I recently watched that movie, I, Tonya, and it's about the figure skater Tonya Harding. And back in the 90s, I believe, early 90s. And since I was a big figure skater as a child, I was quite intrigued because I had followed the events when they happened. Yeah. It was about, I don't know if anybody knows the story of it, but she was involved somehow to some extent with debilitating her, her competition and another skater. So anyway, it was a big deal, and people went to jail over it, and things happened. Careers were destroyed, relationships, all kinds of things. So anyway, I followed it when it was happening, and then of course they've come out with this movie recently. They've had a few versions since then, but this one was a little different. It had a little bit of a different take on how things went down and why they went down the way they did. And it was actually kind of interesting. It really made you think about people's positions in life and the opportunities that they have and the people that they surround themselves with and how they can help or hinder and or ruin your life. Really. Yeah. So it really kind of, like, both my husband and I watched it. He wanted to watch it, and I was like, I don't want to watch that stuff, right? Because I wasn't really interested. I had already formed an opinion about her long ago. Yeah. But after watching it, I kind of have a different viewpoint, so... Or at least have more of an awareness of people's backgrounds. And, you don't really know what they're going through. So anyway...
How was Allison Janney? Was she fabulous?
She was so good. Because, man...
That's just her middle name now. Allison's so good, Janney, because she was.
She was excellent. And I don't think you've seen it, Terry. And have you seen it yet, Catherine? Okay, we need to talk. We need to talk about it. You need to see it, and then we need to talk about it. Her mother was brutal. If that's how she legitimately was, holy cow. That poor girl had, things against her from day one. But Allison Janney did an excellent job of portraying that. They all did. The actors were all really, really good. So, yeah, I kind of made me think about people's lot in lives. So... That's it for our roundup.
Yes, and now we will move into our shameless self-promotion and talk about some of the things that we have written or done lately that we want to shout out and share with you. Since you just mentioned Tonya and Allison Janney, I will mention that I have not written anything new lately, but I thought that since we are in award show season, it would be good to call out my Mauro 10-point comfort scale for awards show dresses, which you can find on my blog, Parenting Isn't Pretty. And the dresses that Allison Janney and Margot Robbie, who played Tonya Harding in that movie, wore to the Golden Globes, are kind of like on opposite sides of my spectrum. I thought Allison Janney's dress looked surprisingly comfortable, looked like something you could sit at a table and drink in without any problem if you have, if you look like she does. But, it had long sleeves, it had nice neckline, you didn't have to worry about leaning over. It looked stretchy. It looked very forgiving of a long evening sitting at a table. Whereas Margot Robbie's dress, that girl had to sit up with her shoulders back all night. She could not laugh at the jokes that her co-star makes. If there's breadsticks involved and she got crumbs down that cleavage, it would be very uncomfortable. So my 10-point scale is about practicality more than fashion, about the mechanics of sitting for many hours in an uncomfortable garment. And I write it from the point of view of somebody who, when her kids were little, often had to sit on the floor with them, even at very fancy events. So check it out. It's too late for the Golden Globes, although you can look at pictures and score. But the Oscars are coming, along with many, many, many other shows in which people will wear fancy dresses.
That's right.
So, Nicole, what are you self-promoting today?
Well, I finally have a post up on the Friendship Circle.
Yay!
Yay! So it's about different ways of evaluating student progress in an inclusive class. So not just standardized tests, multiple choice. Mm-hmm. There are many other ways that teachers can effectively evaluate your child.
Excellent.
That will help give an accurate assessment of your child's strengths and issues.
Okay, and Catherine, what do you have this week?
I have, I have something new over at highlights.com, and it is, the title, which I actually didn't write, is Teach Your Taught Tenacity. So we're going with the tongue twister there. But it's about a study that was done on, I think, about 15-month-old babies, and the fact that they can notice when an adult is working hard on something, and they can try to do the same themselves, like not get discouraged right away when they are trying to do something that's hard. So
okay, that's not where I thought that was going. I thought they could notice when an adult is working hard on something and know that it's time to go interrupt them and start hectoring them to do something.
No.
Mom's finally working on her blog post. She's typing hard. It's time for me to go ask for something.
To get involved. No, you almost feel bad for the little babies in this study, because they were given a toy that they were shown that it played music, and it had a big button on the front that looked like, logically, you press this button, it plays music.
Yes.
But it didn't work that way. And so then they had to figure out how to turn on the music without in some unexpected way. So poor little things.
That does seem kind of mean. Yes. Don't these early experiences sort of pattern you for life? Aren't they now going to be constantly frustrated?
Maybe. It's possible. So that's it for this week's episode of Parenting Roundabout. We hope you enjoyed it and that you'll join us every week. You can listen to podcast episodes on parentingroundabout.com or download them from Apple Podcasts. Please subscribe so that you get all of our podcasts and mini podcasts. You can follow us on Twitter. I am at Cihaleko, Terry is at Mamatude, and Nicole is at Nicole Eridix. And the podcast is on Twitter at Roundabout Chat. You can also look for us on Facebook, Pinterest, Tumblr, YouTube, and Instagram. Best of all, stop by our podcast page at parentingroundabout.com and read recaps, find links on all the stories we've mentioned, and talk back in the comments. Thanks to John Morin at johnjmorin.com for providing our in and out music, and I wish everyone a great week.